The city is only as strong as all of its parts. So we need every part of the city, every district, every neighborhood to reach its full capacity in order that we meet the needs of all the citizens in this city.
As a resident of District 4, with geographical boundaries stretching from Drawbridge Parkway to the north to Business 40 West and High Point Road to the south, New Garden and College Roads to the east to West Friendly Avenue, Hobbs Road, and Battleground Avenue to the west, Nancy Hoffmann is the person elected by her district to be their voice as a member of the Greensboro City Council.
I get to really be the voice for the people I represent in District 4, but I also feel that I'm a voice for everybody in the city.
From teacher to corporate businesswoman to entrepreneur, over the years Hoffmann has worn many hats professionally, which has given her a unique perspective on many issues, as well as the opportunity to call both coasts of the United States home.
Nancy, tell the viewers a little bit about you personally and professionally and kind of your background, because I know you've been in the business world for a long time, and so just kind of describe your background a little bit.
Well, I grew up in what we refer to in South Carolina as the upcountry, which is the upper part of the state. I grew up in Rock Hill, which is just south of Charlotte, almost a suburb of Charlotte today. Went to school in South Carolina, got my undergraduate degree at Winthrop, which at that time was a women's college, and then my master's degree is from the University of South Carolina. But I did additional graduate work at University of North Carolina at Charlotte, and also at Duke and Chapel Hill. I had always been interested in home furnishings and textiles, so I started my career in the textile business in 1976, right out of graduate school with Milliken. At that time, we were the third largest textile manufacturer in the U.S. Burlington, headquartered here in Greensboro, was number one, and J.P. Stevens was number two. Milliken was privately owned by Roger Milliken and his family, and so he ran the business the way he wanted to. He was a very interesting man to work for, demanding in some ways, really a perfectionist. So I spent actually 1 year in the South and lived in Greenville, South Carolina in 1976, when Greenville did not look like it does today. And then I went to New York City and worked for Milliken 4 years in New York. I then went to work for a customer of theirs, an apparel manufacturer on the West Coast in Los Angeles, as director of marketing. And so I lived in LA for about a year and a half. And I came back to the East Coast at that point and worked 3 years in the financial services industry with one of the major Wall Street firms. And had an opportunity to really go back with them and live in Northern California. So I lived in the San Francisco area for 2 years. First 2 years I was married. My husband and I got married in 1982 in New York City, and immediately moved to, we lived in Menlo Park. My office was in Palo Alto and his was in San Jose. We were half an hour away from downtown San Francisco, so we lived there for 2 years and then came back east. I joined one of the major department stores in New York City. We owned Brooks Brothers and Ann Taylor, which is where, those are the companies that I did most of my work for. And then I was recruited to join a home furnishings company in New England. So we lived in New England for nearly 10 years. I was with 2 different home furnishings companies there.
You've been all over the country, and as I hear you...
Yeah, traveling it's a great experience and a real education.
As I hear you click off the names of the places where you've lived, it's on the short list. I think for a lot of folks, it's sort of their bucket list of New York City and living out in LA
and living
San Francisco.
And living in New England is wonderful. New England is beautiful. It has 4 beautiful seasons. A lot of things happening there. So that was a great experience too. I loved that.
So from New England back to North Carolina, what brought you?
Well, I came home. My mother-in-law had lived in New York City, and she had passed away, and my mother was beginning to have some health problems, and she was still in Rock Hill. So my husband and I decided that we would move closer to my home at that point. So I had an opportunity to join Stanley Furniture, which is headquartered in Martinsville, Virginia, but I was involved with a division of theirs that was in Salisbury. So that was what brought us to North Carolina in 1993.
Having an opportunity to see firsthand how city government works, combined with the belief that she could offer something that she felt was lacking on council, Nancy was spurred into the spotlight of public service. This was, of course, somewhat ironic for someone who openly acknowledges that politics was never originally on her career to-do list.
I'd been very politically active. I grew up in a very politically interested family, an active family with my parents. And I had certainly been very supportive of campaigns and had, as a volunteer, worked on various campaigns. But no, I had never thought about running for public office. Once we moved to Greensboro, I did have an opportunity to become involved in a lot of do some nonprofit work. And then I was asked to really join one of our city commissions, and that was really what kind of initiated my interest in city government and really becoming involved in city government in Greensboro.
So was it that commission work that kind of sealed the deal for you and convinced you that you were ready to?
It was that. I served on the Human Relations Commission for nearly 4 years. I chaired it the last year, and I, as an umbrella committee with underneath the commission, we had the Complaint Review Committee, which I also served on for those 4 years and chaired for almost 2 years. So, I began to understand and see the workings of city government and, what you can accomplish within city government. And, I sort of came to the decision late in 2010, and as we moved into 2011, I really felt that I perhaps could bring another point of view and some vision and thinking to City Council that I didn't see there. And that's really what sort of compelled me to kind of step out and decide to run and become a public person, whereas I had been a totally private person.
That certainly, I think, is something that maybe a lot of folks take for granted, is that people who are elected officials are sort of used to being in that public spotlight and in that eye. But you, I think, naturally are sort of a reserved person. And so how's that transition been for you?
It's a transition to really transition from being a private person to being a public person, where there's a level of scrutiny that you have to become accustomed to. You don't have that in the corporate world. I had a long corporate career, but that's still a private life, and unless you're a public company, as it was. I worked for 2 public companies during my career, but my other affiliations were with privately owned companies. So it's a transition, but you make it, and you deal with living a public life as opposed to a private life.
Sure. Well, I think you're doing very well from my standpoint.
Thank
and
you.
Of course, now you're in the first year of your second term, so obviously the voters, I think, are behind you as well. So talk about your experience now in representing District 4 for 3, now going on potentially 4 years, and what's that been like now that you're kind of in that elected official role?
Well, I tell people that I have a job that I really get up and love to do it every day. And I love going to it every day. I think I've even said that this is perhaps in a way the best gig that I've had throughout my career. You just get to interact with people all over this city. You get to meet and know a lot of people and listen to their stories. You get to be intimately involved in the workings of the city, and a city we're the 3rd largest city in North Carolina. We are 280,000 residents. We have nearly 50,000 college students here. So, some of those obviously have residency, others are not, are here on a temporary basis. So you add that number in, we're probably a city of more than 300,000 when you sort of think about it that way. So there is a complexity to running or being being involved in governing a city of this size. And so that's been challenging, but also very interesting to me. It's given me an opportunity to drill down and learn about water and sewer and some other things that I've never had any reason to be involved with before. So it's a great job, and I really love doing it. And mostly, I think I love the interaction with the people that I meet every day. And I really believe that elected officials have the power at all levels to improve the lives of people. And I think we have perhaps a greater opportunity to do that at the local level, because I tell people all the time, they can talk to me, they can get to me, they can telephone me, I return their phone calls, they can email me, and feel like they have a personal relationship. So I think local government is just fantastic in terms of what we have the capacity to do if we work hard at it and do it well.
Sure. Is there anything that you're particularly fond of or proud of in your tenure as a council member, or something that you've done in District 4 or even otherwise for the city?
There are big things and there are little things, and they're both important. There are little things like listening to the citizens in District 4 who said, we really need to have our crossing guards at Claxton Elementary. And so, I got us to go back and really look and evaluate that and decide that it was really important to keep them. I say oftentimes that representing District 4, I represent just a fantastic part of the city. District 4 is very, very blessed in many ways. But there are issues that come up that people find threatening. We've had several major rezoning issues in District 4, and that will continue to be something that I think we'll have to deal with. But what you really want to do is to be able to maintain the quality of life, the integrity of neighborhoods, but at the same time be open to good development and advancement, and really looking ahead to what the needs of the city are going to be, not a decade out and 2 decades out. I think sometimes people become over-fascinated with the past, and we sort of hold it up as being that perfect time. But progress means change. And I think we really have to be open to change in our lives and change as a city. And it's important not to be afraid of change, but to really embrace it and to guide it and direct it, to make it work for everybody, really.
What do you notice as the similarities coming from the corporate world into leadership from a government standpoint? I'm sure there's a skill set that transfers there.
Yeah. I think because I have that mindset, I'm always thinking about city government in the same way that I think about a business. You're making investments. You're investing in assets in the city, just as you're investing in assets in a company. You're investing in a company to grow the business. We want the city to grow. And so that requires investment, and it requires good decisions. It requires us to be thoughtful about what we do. And it requires us to think long term. It requires us to think strategically. And so I think the skills that I learned as in the corporate world of running a business really have transferred very nicely. I've been the liaison to the ABC board since I came onto council, and Mayor Perkins asked me to do that because he knew a little bit about my background. Number one, I understand specialty retail businesses. In my recruiting career, we have specialized in food businesses, supermarkets, and specialty foods. So it's, I've enjoyed the aspect of being the council liaison to that board, because in essence, the ABC board is running a $40 million business in Greensboro, and which contributes $4 million into our general fund every year. So, I want our stores to be friendly, to really be 21st century, to really be on the cutting edge of retail today, to be attractive, and to give great customer service to people. So, we are working through some of those things as an ABC board, and I'm just, I'm thrilled that, we've opened our newest store on Lawndale in a new location. It's a beautiful store. People love going there. So, I like being involved in that aspect of city government.
It sounds like it's given you a great outlet to be able to kind of apply the knowledge and the experience and the things that you've done throughout your career.
Yeah, it really, it's what I had done before coming to public office was a really great jumping off platform to then serving on city council and hopefully helping to lead the city and to get us to what we want to look like the next decade or the next 2 decades.
As you think about where this city needs to go and the growth opportunities for it, do you see council sort of playing a role as being change agents and helping your constituents to kind of get comfortable with that progress?
Yeah, absolutely, and you do that with your conversation, or you do that with your explanation of why you think it's important to support one thing versus something else. I was a proponent from day one, realizing the constraints of our War Memorial Auditorium and the fact that it really had aged out of its usefulness, that it was really no longer serving the needs of this community. So, to be able to support the next asset in this city, to really have the opportunity to really help bring on stream LeBauer Park and what that's going to mean to this city. It's really a game changer. To be involved in seeing downtown begin to have a second rebirth. It had one 10 years ago, and then we had that stopping point. But to really see the activity that's developing here, to see more people coming downtown to live, to see more businesses open downtown. What I really want to see is more people working downtown. I'd love to see several more smaller or larger corporate headquarters downtown. So we fill the downtown up from morning until night. We've got, I serve also as a liaison to the Redevelopment Commission. And again, I chose that because I want to be involved in turning property that the city owns into something useful that creates a greater tax base for us. So I'm really excited about the South Elm project, and the first phase of that, of course, is going to be the Union Square, which is just, again, that's going to begin to change the face of downtown and pour a lot more people into downtown 7 days a week for a very long day. So it's the opportunity to do all of those things, and yes, City Council can provide the catalyst for doing much of that. A lot of it, it's private industry and private business, but the city can be a partner in that, and the members of City Council can be partners in that.
And for residents of the city, they have to understand that downtown is sort of the bottom of that funnel, or it's that target at times, even though they may not live downtown.
They may not live downtown, but I always say, downtown is the heart and soul of every city. And you don't have to live downtown, but if you come downtown on July 4th, I think we had nearly 70,000 people. It was an absolutely just outstanding day. It was beautiful weather. It was not hot. It was a mild day, and just to see that many people embracing their downtown and their city and what was going on here, and with their families and their friends, it's a very powerful thing. Downtown serves everybody in the city. They don't have to live down here, and they don't have to work here. But obviously we want a nucleus of people doing that. But it's a place that is free, that they can come to and enjoy and embrace and take their family. And that's what I think is going to be so wonderful about the Performing Arts Center and LaBauer Park, and in conjunction with City Center Park. They're places that people are going to want to take their children to, or show their grandchildren 10 years from now or 20 years from now, and really point to that as being something really important for the city.
As you think about the Performing Arts Center and the South Elm development, and the hotels that are going up downtown, and then of course the apartment buildings that are being developed. There's things to do. There's places to live. What's the next step in terms of getting? You talked about bringing more corporations to downtown.
I would love to see us with another major corporate headquarters downtown, and or several smaller corporate headquarters. I mean, you know, we have small companies that may be 25 or 30 or 50 people, but you know that can be a corporate headquarters downtown. You know, if we can attract a corporate headquarters that might have, you know, 200, 250 people, I mean, that would be tremendous too. So I think we need to continue to look for those opportunities. We need to, you know, continue to look to recruit businesses here where we can. I mean, I have made a couple of suggestions of businesses that I would love to see come to Greensboro, and we're working on those behind the scene. It takes time. One of them has indicated that there could be some interest in Greensboro. It might not be until 2016 or 2017, but these things take a while, and so I really I pass my ideas and have these discussions with DGI and with other organizations that really can help us achieve that. I think if we could turn the Cascade Saloon into a small corporate headquarters or a great retail space, what a change in the face of downtown, you know, that will create. So, you know, we have really lots of opportunities. We just have to keep picking away at them.
Do you think that's something that we're kind of primed and ready to start? Because it seems to me like 4 or 5 years ago, the city and the other entities involved maybe weren't ready to have that conversation, but it seems like everybody's there now.
They are, and I'll tell you, that was the reason that I ran in 2011, because I saw what I thought was a city council that was just pulling back and retrenching, and that's the worst thing that you can do. Even in bad times, I always said, even in bad times, businesses you should not cut back on your marketing and sales efforts, because that just personifies the problem. You know, we've been living in a very low interest rate market, so that gives you an opportunity really to invest for less. It doesn't mean you should be frivolous and that you should not be cautious, but it does create an opportunity. So those are the things that I think about a lot, really all the time, and try to evaluate what we do and what we can do and what we're thinking about doing at the city level, you know, within that kind of framework.
It's neat for me to sit here and listen to you say those things, because I can kind of play the role of the resident, and what I hear from you is optimism. Absolutely.
It's the only way to live your life. I'm not a pessimist. My glass is always, you know, it always can get fuller. Tomorrow is always better than today, and historically, and because I come to life really sort of with the lens of history, and I majored in history and I've always loved it. But you know, historically, every year gets better, every decade is better, and so I'm really a very optimistic person, and I'm always excited about the things that we can get done, and the potential that we have to do new things and to fix things that need fixing.
Sure. I want to pick your brain a little bit and your knowledge of having lived in different cities all over the country. How does Greensboro compare to other cities that you've been in? Because I've always heard Greensboro is unique. It's very different from most cities. How do you describe it?
If we just compare it to the other cities in North Carolina, Greensboro has its own personality. I say to people, you can get anywhere in Greensboro in 12 minutes. So we don't have a huge traffic problem. I lived in Charlotte and Raleigh where traffic snarls are a problem. So we don't have to deal with that here. We have great assets here. I mean, our parks are fantastic. Our library system is incredible in Greensboro. You know, we have our Coliseum complex is one of the best in the country. People don't realize that. The arena, the whole complex is one of the top ones in the entire country. You know, we're going to have a performing arts center that will be second place to none. We're going to have a LeBauer Park that is going to incorporate the best of some of the major parks in the country. So we have almost unlimited assets here. It's an easy way of life. It's easy to live here. We have good schools. It's very easy to raise your family here. I think people, sort of young people, and maybe myself, you always want to go off to the big city and, you know, do your thing there. But at some point in time, I think many people want to come back to their roots. That's really what I want to continue to see for Greensboro. You know, we've sort of segued from these old traditional businesses to new businesses here, and we're creating different kinds of jobs. But it's an attractive place to live.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed having the chance to talk to you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to say? I'll kind of let you have the last word as you get the opportunity to talk to Greensboro's residents who will be watching this.
I'm really out and about in this city daily. That's the thing that I like most about this job. So, you know, I want them to feel that they can talk to me about anything that's important to them. I had someone call me yesterday about an issue, and you know, I really love hearing from them, getting their point of view, because that's really what informs me and my ability to think about, you know, what's important for the citizens of this city. So I want to continue to hear from them.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.